Hi! It's Thursday, November 30th. It's the last day of November. Tomorrow's December. Yay! Today it's time to learn about Shadow Club. Let's begin. Whee! Not even a little bit. I'm old. I like what I have. I had a life. It's scary.
Anyway, back to you guys. We have early book report turn-in coming in 1 week from tomorrow. I figured that'd be a much more fun beginning than we just talked. Novel homework we'll get into from there. You can download it, find out information. Those of you working on it now you get to finally clear it off. You have to actually do learning stuff. So make sure you from there. Those of you at home, you do get to download it and fun stuff from there. You want to know if I'm going to take Aaron's pen? If only if he keeps clicking it. We'll find out in a moment. There's all nice to ask. And then for the actual homework, you're going to have 4 options on there. The first one is just answering the questions. You have 12, so you have to answer 10. If you do all 12, it gets you an extra point. Option 2 is the alphabet phrase, although now it's about Shadow Club, not about the other things. Option 3 is where the character descriptions come in, those ones you've been doing all the highlighting and things like that. You have to just go through there, tell me the page number, what it is you did, and then how it connects to the person you know. And then the last one is if you do well on the quiz, that'll help you out from there. Oh, also, those of you, if you were dead before, if you're at home watching this and you are in 7th period, you're not where we are. You're going to have to start on page 15 because we're starting on page 17 today. And if you were in period 5, you're even farther behind. Period 5, you're way back on page 12. So you're going to read until you get up to page 17 or you're going to be confused. If you were in 3rd period, then we miss you because you're here now, so that's weird and confusing. Things we got into yesterday. Shirley Temple. You're more than welcome to watch it on your own during science. Google it. I recommend you Google the Good Ship Lollipop because she taps into the drink that one. Which character gets compared to Shirley Temple? Rebecca. What is it Rebecca's really good at doing? Singing. Who hates Rebecca? Me. Cheryl. What's the cousin's name? Cheryl. Who is Cheryl's best friend?
Oh, Nick.
Randall. The guy that's good at everything and he's
Jared. No, he's really extra money.
Jared. And who is Cheryl's brother?
Austin.
No, not Austin. Randall.
it's lost in Pinks.
Yeah, still not. And yeah, I will charge you the points for having those on your face. It's very mildly distracting every time I have to look at you standing up over there. Let's see, so you got it's there. Ooh, where does our story begin?
The
Graveyard.
Graveyard. What's taking place in the
Wedding.
I found a picture of a gazebo because they were talking about taking place in a gazebo. You're not sure what a gazebo is. That's what a gazebo is.
Why are they doing
that? I'm not watching that again. That was way too much you and I could do. Oh, we did get to the part in the book where it says their junior high is different than ours. Because what grades are at their junior high?
7th, 8th,
7th, 8th, and 9th. What grade are the main characters in?
9th and 7th. The Rebecca.
9th. They're 14.
9th, and then Rebecca's in 7th because she was just starting 7th grade, but the other ones were just starting 9th grade. Well done.
What page are we on?
We are on page 17.
Alright. So they're not in high school?
For them, no. For them,
They're in middle school.
Yeah. I'm like you guys, you get to 9th grade, you get to go to high school. Here, 9th grade, you're still stuck with it.
I get high school credits.
Right. And then we have the nickname. Who is it that Jared doesn't like?
Austin.
Because what's Austin really good at?
Fast.
Running. He's like, Jake, stop. Right now.
Wow, I will give permission to Tate to beat you if need be. It's going to make Tate excited. And what nickname does he come up with for Austin?
Jake. Lost in space.
No. You made Jake be quiet. Now, don't you try and yell at Jake. I have faith in him. There you go. We like Jake. It's going to talk about Austin being at the top of the oval of the track. That's what they're referring to. All right. Now, page 17. Ooh, I forgot one last thing. I'll take 3 of you who have made connections in the book. I know I did my connections already.
Oh, we did it yesterday.
I know. I figured I'd take 3 different people. Hopefully I have a chance to go from there.
Oh, I did it yesterday.
Right off.
Can we do it at the end?
Sure, we'll do it again. He took it away let's back up. But I could run, and when you're a fast runner, There's nothing like that feeling as you pick up speed. Actually feel your body accelerate. And you realize that the wind isn't a wind at all. It's just you cutting through the still air like a bullet. There's nothing like that feeling when you know that that's what you do well and nobody can take it away. Pick up. Nobody but Lost in Space. And he took it away real good. Not so much by beating me, but by purposely making me feel like I wasn't worth a thing. He knew exactly what to say to squash me beneath his big toe. Things like, maybe it's your running shoes that make you slow. Or maybe next year your legs will grow longer and you'll have a fighting chance. Or maybe he'd just look at me with that silent gloat in his smile after beating me in yet another race. I don't know why, but it seemed that Coach Schuler always put us in the same races. We would take first and second. But when Austin and I were racing, there were no places, only winner and loser. And I was always, without exception, the loser. Once, I was the best. That one year when Austin's father, who's a professor, took the whole family traipsing around South America for a whole year. It was in 7th grade, first year on the junior high school team. I finally got to see that finish line ribbon, to feel it pull across my chest as I crossed the line. I was hot then, the hero, popular, everything I could have wanted. And then Austin came back, like I knew he would. I remember the beginning of 8th grade, before the coach knew him. We were lined up for time trials, and just before Austin was to go, he turned to me and gave me that smile that said, "You're nothing, Jared Mercer, and I'll prove it." The coach yelled, "Go!" and Austin took off. He blew my 60-yard time sky high. He beat it by almost half a second, which might not seem like much, but races are lost by hundreds of seconds. From that moment on, I was a backseater again. The generic kid, living in the bigger-than-life shadow of Lost in Space. But this time it was worse, because I tasted what it was like to be a winner. And Austin was determined to make sure I would never taste it again. "No, you take these things too seriously," my father would say. "So he's faster than you. Big deal. I'll bet there are things you do better than he does." But there weren't. My father just didn't understand. It wasn't just that he was faster than me. It was that I was second, and nobody on this earth could care less about runners-up. So on that first morning of 9th grade, I watched Austin from the stands. He knew I was there. He had to know. I was the only one in the bleachers. He ran around and around the dirt track in his bright white running shoes that never seemed to get dirty. It looked like he was going to go until the first bell rang. But then he stopped, stepped inside the track, went to the highest point of the oval, like I have up there. He knew what he was going to do. He did it all the time. His school bag sat there at the tip of the oval track. He took his blue digital chronometer, the one the coach gave him after last year's final meet, and set it to 0. Then he took his running shoes and socks off, stared at an invisible spot in front of him, straight across the middle of the field to the other tip of the oval, took his starting position, clicked the chronometer, and took off in his bare feet. Quick pause. They use the fancy words digital chronometer. Do you know what it is?
Stopwatch.
Yeah, it's just a stopwatch. That's a chronometer. That's a digital chronometer. Why they use the fancy words, I have no idea. Why not just say stopwatch?
Because they're in the old times, aren't they?
Yeah, it was old times. It was like back in the 90s.
It's
Back
a
in the 90s.
civilization.
I want a calendar.
But yeah, that's the digital chronometer he's talking about. It hurt to watch his speed. He tore through the grass like a racehorse on turf. It was at the other end of the oval much too soon. He looked at the time his chronometer had logged, then he pretended to notice me for the first time. He waved. I waved back. He stretched out his legs, went to get his shoes, and then came by the bleachers. "What's up, Jared? Did you have a good summer?" "That's pretty good. What about you?" "Great." He put his foot up on the first bench and stretched his calf muscle. "You like my running shoes? They're Aeropeds. Best running shoe made. Cost almost $200.
Wow.
I nodded. maybe if you had these shoes, you might be able to come close to giving me some competition this year, huh? Maybe, I said, which wasn't what I wanted to say. I won't tell you what I wanted to say.
We don't want to hear it.
Been working out? Yeah, I said. I had been. Every spare moment I had. That's good, man. Me too. Every day. All summer. I was up at Junior National Running Camp. Hey, guess what? What? I might qualify for the Junior NCAA Championships. Really? Uh-huh. Tough competition. But my time now is averaging a quarter of a second faster than last year's 60-yard qualifying time. So I've been trying to get it even lower. My dad says if I qualify, then next year he'll find me a private coach and train me for the Olympics. He smiled, that I'm better than you smile. So, what have you been up to? Me? I just went to European Runners Training Camp. It's where you run cross-country, up and down the Alps, all day long with the famous Olympic athletes. Really? I sighed. No. Actually, I just hung around and worked at Burger King making hamburgers. It's hard work, that Burger King. Builds muscles in your fingers. Yeah, I'll bet, said Austin. You know, I was the youngest one they ever had working at that Burger King? Yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean, who else are they going to get through the stupid flunky work but a kid, right? I didn't say anything after that. Well, I got to go change, said Austin. You coming to the first track meeting this afternoon? Of course. Well, get there on time, he said, smiling that crocodile smile at me. They're picking team captain today. I wouldn't want you to miss that. He turned and ran toward the locker room. The quick pause. Crocodile smile. Do you guys know what a crocodile smile is?
Yes. Like a thing like this.
That's a crocodile. But the term crocodile smile, if you ever see a crocodile, it always looks like they're smiling.
He has that cocky smile.
Yeah, because it always has that smile going. But crocodiles are not actually smiling. They're getting ready to eat you. So when you see one, like,
Oh, what a friendly little lizard. I want to pick. Oh my God, he's eating me.
they go in there and chomp you. So a crocodile smiles when you give someone a smile, but you don't really want to smile. You're actually planning on doing harm to them in some way. You'll notice because I crocodile smile quite often in class. Whenever you make those choices, and I give you the, oh, that's what you want to do?
Oh, you're talking.
Okay. You're like,
You're smiling, but I feel cold on the inside.
that's the crocodile smile. And so that's what Jared's
Is it kind of
getting.
like a cocky smile?
Can be. Usually when you know
That's the first picture. I like that.
he's giving you that sideways look.
That's seduced.
I'm getting ready to eat you. Team captain today. Already that smoldering feeling was growing. Austin had done it again. In 5 minutes, he had put me beneath his $200 running shoes and flattened me like a cigarette butt. You ain't got a chance against him, said a voice a few feet away from me. Standing there, right next to the bleachers, was Tyson McGall, who, when it came to being weird, was head and shoulders above the rest. Tyson had stringy, greasy hair, a dirty face, and his left nostril was larger than his right because he spent so much time with his finger in it. Nobody much liked Tyson, and he was definitely not the person I cared to talk to right now, not after being humiliated by Lost in Space. Why don't you mind your own business, Tyson? People don't like you spying on them. I wasn't spying, said Tyson, mean and defensively, like he was looking to get into one of those famous fights. Tyson was an odd bird. Half the time, he seemed kind of nerdy and off in his own greasy little world. The other half the time, he was being nasty and picking fights like he was a tough kid. The last thing I wanted on the first morning of school was to fight Tyson. Not that I couldn't beat him up. I could. He was kind of weak and scrawny. It's just that he doesn't really fight like a human. He fights more like an animal, kicking and clawing and biting.
Okay.
I highlighted that and put my younger brother because he grew up with me as an older brother, and my friends and I used to have the hobby of beating him up on a regular basis. And so to get defensive, it made him a better person.
Yeah, that's what my family does.
It made him so that he started to fight back, and when he fought back, he'd spin like a Tasmanian devil and bite and attack. It was pretty impressive. It made it kind of scary to fight him. It's kind of insane. He might have broken
I
his
really
leg.
didn't.
Anyway, well, spying or not, whatever you want to call it, don't do it anymore. At least not to me, because I don't like it. I got down from the bleachers and began to walk toward the school building. You really don't stand a chance, mumbled Tyson as I passed him. How would you know? I yelled into his face. Now I was mad. You're not on the team. You're not on any team. All you do is watch everybody else's business and stick your nose in it. Don't you have any business of your own? What goes on between Austin and me has nothing to do with you. Got that?
You like that sassy
Tyson, shut up. I don't think he expected me to get that mad. Just get out of my sight, Tyson. Don't talk to me unless you have something decent to say. I turned and walked toward class. Tyson mumbled something nasty beneath his breath, but I didn't want to push it any further. I ignored him and just continued walking. As I got into the building, my anger shifted away from Tyson back to Austin. What burned me most was that Tyson was probably right. Conceited, arrogant, lost in space, had all the odds in his favor, and I hated Austin all the more for it. I began to imagine how nice it would be if there was a great conspiracy against all the lost in spaces in the world. Now, way back we did short stories. I introduced you guys to the term foreshadowing. Remember what foreshadowing is?
Yeah.
No.
Saying something's gonna happen. Saying something that leads to something.
There you go. Clues in the story that are going to happen later on. That part we just hit was foreshadowing. When it said, I hated Austin all the more for it, I began to imagine how nice it would be if there was a great conspiracy against all the lost in spaces in the world, meaning a club that forms to go and get revenge.
Illuminati?
Foreshadowing.
Oh yeah,
Now,
I forgot that shit.
I know. Now, I want you all to know right up front that this is no namby-pamby team, said Coach Schuler as he fidgeted with his whistle. Once you're in, I don't want you all quitting and joining Little League or a soccer club or something like that. This might not be high school. We might not work out 5 days a week, but anyone who knows me can tell you I expect hard work. Isn't that right, Jared? Yeah, right, I said, surprised that he called me out of everyone else. So if you don't want to be here, leave now. In the back, 2 7th graders who in one day had already gotten a reputation of being obnoxious stood and went to the door laughing. And as they left, one of them turned and said, Adios, Commandant. Some 7th graders laughed. No one who knew Schuler laughed. Schuler looked at his clipboard. First of all, boys meet Mondays and Wednesdays. Girls, you meet Tuesdays and Thursdays. Anyone who wants to can practice with both teams. As Schuler spoke, my mind began to wander. I looked around the gym. It smelled new, but it didn't look much different from the old gym. You would think that when a gym burns down, a school would build a nice new-looking one. But no, this gym was a carbon copy of the old one. In each corner of the gym, a different team was meeting, and more were meeting outside. It looked like about 40 kids were going out for track, a few more boys than girls. By next week, that number would be cut in half. The coach never cut anybody. People just lose interest and drop out. Lost in space sat about 10 feet away from me. He sat in the middle of a crew of 7th graders, already setting himself up to be the team hero for all the new kids to look up to. Schuler flipped the page on his clipboard. As you can see, we have a beautiful new gym. And because of last year's fires, the gym's completely off limits when a teacher isn't present. The doors will remain locked. That goes for the auditorium and just about every other unsupervised place. I know you've heard it from all your other teachers. Now you're hearing it from me. He flipped the page. Real quick, so what happened to the gym last year? So that plays a role coming up. That apparently the gym burnt down. Turns out other parts of the school burnt down too. We're going to find out it wasn't an accident.
Are we going to get to that tomorrow?
Not today.
Okay.
That will be until probably next week.
Wait, where are we in?
We're not done yet.
I burned.
Next, we have something new. Next, we have something new this year. Something I think you're going to like. A bunch of the local school districts are getting together to have a sort of mini Olympics. And yes, there will be track events. There were various cheers from around the room, including my own. Yeah, that's the good news. The bad news is each district enters one team, which means that each school can only have one runner. Various ahs from the group. I kept quiet. I'm sure Austin did too. I felt a knot begin to form in my stomach. Now, before we go down and assign you gym lockers, there's one more order of business. The captain, said Martin Bricker, an 8th grader who had a good chance of being captain next year, but was the only one who thought he'd make it this year. That's right, said Schuler. This is for old team members only. Here are pencils and slips of paper. When I say so, I would like all the old team members to come up and fill out a ballot. All you have to do is put the name of the person who you'd like to be captain this year. Don't we get a campaign? Asked Lawson. No, we don't get a campaign, mimicked Schuler. Y'all know each other. You don't need any presidential debates. There'll be one captain for the boys, one captain for the girls. Boys vote for boys, girls vote for girls. If you're not sure what you are, ask me, and I'll tell you. Someone lifted Sarah Dozier's hand, and she elbowed him in the ribs. Okay, come on up. Here's the ballot box. Please put the pencils back in the can when you're done. I filled in Martin Bricker's name, figuring it was low class to vote for myself, and I certainly wasn't about to vote for Austin. As Austin approached the ballot box, he turned to me and smiled that crocodile smile that screamed, "You loser," from across the room. I smiled that, "Yeah, we'll see," smile right back at him. Hey, when will we have the results? Asked Martin. They'll be posted on the main bulletin board tomorrow by lunch. Go help them, that's fine. The group groaned. Come on, it's only one day. Now when I call your name, come up and I'll give you your locker number. That night, Cheryl and I sat in her old treehouse. They got a picture of a treehouse. For those of you who aren't familiar with how a treehouse works, talking and trying to get my mind off the election. Now, I never remembered the treehouse being so small. I bet it was even too small for Randall to sit in comfortably now. Sometimes I liked growing, but at times like that, I didn't. I remember when I could lie down across the floor in the treehouse. It could fit all three of us, me, Cheryl, and Randall, each in our sleeping bags, late at night, telling ghost stories and drinking chocolate shakes, which were still one of my favorite foods in the world. I loved those days. Now I couldn't even sit in it without bending my knees. It's been almost a year since I've been in it. Cheryl only lived down the street, but we never had much of a reason to go up into the treehouse anymore. It was Cheryl who had said, "Hey, let's talk in the treehouse." And I'd said, "Fine," figuring it would cheer me up. Now, an hour later, the twilight was more twi than light, and the early September chill had come rolling in off the ocean. "What else?" said Cheryl. "Come on, keep thinking." "I don't know. I can't think of any more." "Don't you have any imagination?" "No." "Yes, you do," she said. And there we'll stop. We'll figure out what they have imagination about.
Can I read on?
Probably dead
But is it
dolphins
28?
floating in the...
We're on page, I'm going to stop on 27.
Mine is rodeo.
Your only homework is book report.